The transformations in Dragon Ball used to be incredible. Like, you just couldn't wait to see one because they were that dope. And I'm not talking about just the Super Saiyan transformations. There's many throughout the series for various characters. Each one of them in their own way stands out to many people that are a fan of the series. Obviously, there's the more classic ones such as the Kaioken or the Uzaru form. That whole twist on a werewolf was a very, very cool thing to mix in. And obviously later on in the series, you get other weird transformations such as the boos when they absorb characters and take on their traits. But I will say, none of them compare to the very first time that we see that scene when Goku turned Super Saiyan was just written and drawn and animated to perfection. You see Frieza kill Krillin, Goku, who's normally the light-hearted, lovable character, flips a switch, planet starts shaking. It is just such a built-up and well-crafted moment with a great payoff. It wasn't just like Goku's hair changed, his whole persona changed. He was more serious, more ruthless. After Goku transformed, I couldn't wait to run to school so me and my friends could talk about it. That was how monumental and well built up that scene was. And you have to ask yourself now, when there's a new transformation in Super, do you really feel that same level of glee and admiration as you did when you first saw the first Goku or even Vegeta transformation? The only time after Z I can really say I felt that feeling, which I'll talk about later, was when Super Saiyan 4 came about because it was just such an unbelievably well-drawn character design. But before I get carried away, please, for those of you listening, comment down below your favorite transformation of all time, regardless of what character it is. But now let's jump back, going through some of the other transformations. For example, Super Saiyan 2, while it wasn't as impressive as Super Saiyan 1, it was well received purely because it was a shot that it was Gohan, not Goku, who achieves it, which also tied into the past of Gohan having unlocked potential. So it never seemed like it was a complete ass-pull out of nowhere. It felt like it actually fit the story, which is what makes the transformation better. When it doesn't seem like it's random or out of nowhere, but it really does fit the whole narrative. But then we start getting the novelty of the Super Saiyan kind of running out a little bit, purely because more and more transformations just kept coming. But with that being said, I'm not going to say that I dislike Super Saiyan 3 because I did like what they done with it. They at least changed the design quite a bit. With 1 and 2, visually there's not much change, like a little bit more spikier hair and maybe the addition of lightning, but overall it looks very, very similar. In some manga panels, you can't even tell the difference. But when it came to Super Saiyan 3, they specifically made sure to craft something that looked completely different. And even Grade 3 Super Saiyan, I actually did like it. It was a nice change on the character. They did look quite a bit different. But when you look at their transformations in Super, they don't carry the same weight. I don't believe anybody even cares about them that much. But I'm not putting the complete blame of this on Super because the transformations did seem to lose their luster and amazement well before Super's creation. It happened in Z. For example, Goten and Trunks when they achieved Super Saiyan. The fact we just see two kids now playing with it did make Super Saiyan 1 a little bit less impressive. But over time, this kind of carried across into other series. For example, once we actually do get into Super, and then you see like Vegeta and Goku teaching the other characters, like, was it Khalifa and Kaba, to turn Super Saiyan mid-fight, like the whole first Super Saiyan form just becomes trivial. And I've got to say, once the Super Saiyan God bit came around and I saw it, I wasn't excited or enthused about it at all, especially once I saw how this Super Saiyan God was achieved. They all hold hands and pray around Goku for this God power, and then you start getting Super Saiyan Blue, then you got Gold Frieza, then you got Black Frieza, then you've got Orange Piccolo. I personally hate them all. And it feels hard saying that because I love Dragon Ball. I love Dragon Ball, I love Dragon Ball Z. I wasn't a fan of GT, but I watched it. It just seems like they're tarnishing what I used to love as a kid. And yes, I can hear my biases showing, but even if I take out my personal kind of views on these transformations, I just don't actually like the design of them. I used to sketch Dragon Ball Z characters all the time, and I personally just don't really like the design of these new characters. And even worse so, when I think of a new transformation coming about in Super, my first thought is that Toei or Akira Toriyama are just trying to sell more toys. That is the first thing that comes to my head, which is not a good thing. I don't feel like it's because the story demands it. I feel like they're just coming up with brand new transformations purely because it's something to impress this new younger audience they're aiming for, to get them to buy toys, which is never a good thing. I feel like Super Saiyan 1 and even 2 came much more genuine and felt like it was more deserved and built up. Whereas the blue hair, the red hair, the purple hair, the black Frieza, I feel like they're just getting almost out of hand now. So that is how I personally think when it comes to Super. But with that being said, I don't absolutely hate every single new transformation in Super. There are some that I like. For example, the Beast Gohan, I actually don't mind that one, but I will have to caveat that and say the reason I do like it is because it is pure nostalgia. It's virtually a copy and paste of the original version. The only difference they changed was made his hair silver and his eyes red. So the nostalgia's there and the design looks good. But overall, the main thing I like about that is they're trying to at least save Gohan from the assassination that happened during the Great Saiyan Man arc. Another transformation I actually do quite like is the Ultra Instinct for Goku. I like the idea of Goku being in base and they just have this kind of white fleck that kind of is applied to him. It looks very cool. And most of all, the thing I like about it is it makes Goku lose that kind of goofy persona he has in Super. But overall, when it comes to my thoughts about the transformation, regardless of if they have the odd character design that I do like, as a whole, they're just not something that you really look forward to. Like the other transformations, when they came about, it was like a really big deal. Whereas now it's like they get various transformations like left, right, and center to the point that none of them really seem earned. It just feels like after what 10 or 12 episodes, all of a sudden they're much stronger than they was a second ago, and they've got randomly different colored hair. But with what I just said, that's not even true all the time, purely because they have superpower levels such as Super Saiyan Blue Goku doing Kamehameha waves with Krillin when there's no need. Like, for example, he's meant to be so powerful right now. Even in base, he should be able to flick Krillin and he's dead, realistically, based on how the power scaling's been. But for some reason, they have Goku in Super Saiyan Blue and Krillin being able to, hold his own. Yes, everyone's going to say Goku wasn't trying his hardest, but the point is, why even bother going blue if you're not going to go your hardest? And let's be real, even Goku in base, not trying his hardest, is still going to be much more powerful than Krillin. Even though I did like the idea of bringing Krillin back to give him more shine, the idea of him battling against Goku in Super Saiyan Blue just makes it so silly. Like, it's bad enough that every 5 seconds they turn Super Saiyan Blue because that's basically the new Super Saiyan 1. But having characters as weak as Krillin, being able to stand up to it just diminishes how impressive and impactful these transformations used to be. So ultimately, when transformations are used like this, it basically just makes them seem worthless because they don't seem as powerful as they should all the time, which is why as a whole, most of the transformations in Super, they don't really carry much weight in my eyes. Like, I don't feel super impressed. Like, for me personally, the last transformation that I actually really cared about probably was in GT. And that is, I'm going to say what you want about Dragon Ball GT, but that transformation they came up with, Super Saiyan 4, looked incredible. That form is personally one of my favorite looking in terms of design-wise. I remember sketching that repeatedly when that came out. They made Goku look really, really fierce, but I will say I'm not a massive fan of Vegeta, of how he looked when he was in Super Saiyan 4. But Goku, I think he looks damn near perfect. The fact that it's like part human, part Uzaru, which made it look like this was going to be the pinnacle. Like, there's no higher you can get than this. He's got his tail back. They've literally pushed their Saiyan abilities to the absolute utmost. And hopefully, I'm not alone here, but I feel like that design from top to bottom just looks incredible. And if that was going to be the very last Super Saiyan transformation that we would have got in the Dragon Ball series, I would have been happy with that. I feel like it's designed perfectly. It mixes in the Ozaru and the human form. It just feels like that was meant to be the final form of the Super Saiyans. And plus, it was a fan favorite. But anyways, when it comes to Super now, I personally am just not that invested. Every time a new color comes up, if I'm being honest, I just feel like, oh, okay. Like Super Saiyan Rose, I have to say, was one of the worst ones that just popped out of nowhere. But overall, when it comes to the whole idea of transformations, to be honest, after the point of, say, Super Saiyan 3, then if you want to go with canon stuff, leads me to regrettably say that the transformations in Dragon Ball have gone from legendary to a basic mockery. But that is just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in regards to transformations. And also let me know what your favorite transformation is in the whole Dragon Ball series. Anyways, people, thanks for watching the video. Subscribe if you're brand new, and I'll see you guys in a new video soon. Peace!